Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. What is up, Michelle?
Hey, blah 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 blah. I don't know.
It's
That's
so
where
funny.
I've been.
I got stuff mixed up from last night, so I meant to go to my face and I went to your face. That's why I went to you way quicker than I normally go. Like, oh, there's Michelle. What's
I'm
up,
like,
Michelle?
what? What? Oh, what's
We're all
up?
sorted out now, though. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's been I don't know. It's
it's a
been an
dizzy.
interesting week.
It was a busy month, September. So here we are, first day of October. We got through it. And like we were just talking about suspicious observers doing the recent video yesterday or today. I can't remember exactly, but where he was posting the solar wind over the course of the entire year. And the highest peak that we've had is at the beginning of this month, and the second highest was in the latter half of this month. So we've really been blasted this month, and I think a lot of us have felt
So
the effect.
reports. Let me get my mic a little closer. Reports I've heard are lots of headaches, a lot of pressure, a lot of sinus headaches. I've still been getting those pinpoints of pressure that we've talked about in my
Mhm.
head. A little dizziness. I
Dizziness,
had to
yeah.
pick up my son from school because he felt dizzy and hot one day, and
Yeah.
so it's I don't know. It's not just it's I see it going around. There's a trend, definitely a trend of people feeling like I think Eileen and you were in bed a
Yeah.
lot of this week sick, weren't you?
Yeah, it was like, well, you saw me last week. You know, the nausea kicking in. That was a great example. Wait, I'm glad like you guys got to see that. That's just another aspect, of that's how I was feeling that day, and that's definitely a predominant symptom over the course of this last month. That's coming in waves with that just nausea, difficulty collecting thoughts, um, woozy feeling, feeling fatigued at times, um, heavy. The bones get really heavy. Uh, just so many different things going on. A bit of an overload. So
And even on the extreme end of things, people feeling strong senses of hopelessness, depression,
all
just
kinds of waves of different things.
exactly.
Real
So
waves of
yeah,
different. For me, I was really kind of at a loss earlier to explain even how I was feeling this month. So I'm really grateful once again to Travis, who always really helps me put those thoughts together so I can share them. We just have a great dynamic with that, and he experiences a lot of the things that I'm experiencing. So it's such a great affirmation that when we come together and talk, to know, okay, it's not just me. It's not just me. To sort of that it does make sense. And yeah, so it was very dizzy this month. It was a dizzying month.
yeah, it was.
And really, what I was feeling very empty, and not, it's not to say in a
Not in a Buddha,
depressed way.
not in a Buddha sort of way, or in a Buddha sort of way, like
I think
emptying yourself.
it's working on that, but it at the same time a weird place to be,
Yeah.
um because I've been really working hard every day to shed these different layers, to dig a little deeper, to look at the source within myself, to take time to sit with myself, recognizing the difference of when my heart is speaking and when my mind is speaking, trying to put those into practice. And what I realized is it left me feeling very emptied out. But that's not about that's part of this process right now, I
So it
think.
wasn't a negative thing per se. It's just
It could feel like that sometimes when you're feeling empty. You're
Hmm.
like, is this where I'm supposed to be?
When you say this, are you meaning like empty as in the opposite of the intense energies we've been feeling? Is it sort of the absence of those energies, perhaps, or?
Well, not necessarily, because I have been feeling multitudes of sensations. It's feeling an emptiness of emotion
Mm,
more, an emptying of thoughts and emotions,
almost
which
like a
is,
disconnect then?
yeah, yeah. Um, and I really think it has to do with this separating process of separating the mind. It can kind of leave you at a loss. Like, I'm not, of how you're supposed to feel about anything.
I do understand. I
When you're
understand that,
starting
yeah.
to remove all the stories that you tell yourself, all the things that your mind says, and stripping those things away layer by layer to get to the essence of what your heart has to say and learning to listen to that. It's stripping away many emotions and things that have been carried with, me all this time,
Yeah,
the good and the bad, all of it.
yeah,
So it's I really think it's part of working towards this zero point, trying to harness in and access this point where you are all in nothing at the same time. So the great visual that I got with that today when talking with Travis, that he helped me with it, understanding what's been going on, relates to how I've been feeling about time this month too. Um, the first half of the month, it was like the 1st of September, then all of a sudden it felt like the next day it was the 15th. Like what happened? And then the last half of September, it felt like it really goes by quick. Like it feels like it was just the day before yesterday that I was talking to you. Well, it doesn't feel like a week ago, but at the same time, for like the last week, I've been thinking it was already October. So there's a real disconnect with this time. Like it feels like it's like whizzing by me. And those cylinders with the hole and like reaching that black hole, that center, the black hole, and you put the coin in and it circles around, and as it's coming to the center of that black hole, it's going faster and faster and faster.
yeah,
I feel this is what has been going on, and being that coin that is being spun, I'm feeling the cycles, I'm feeling, and it and the whip of it, and it's kind of like, and looking outside at the exterior and seeing these things like flash by really quickly, and you're kind of like, am I supposed to be caring about that? Am I supposed to be thinking about that? Am I supposed to be worrying about that? And then keep trying to strip back these layers as I get closer and closer to the center of that black hole. It's whipping faster and faster, and it can be a little, it can be disconcerting as I'm
yeah.
emptying myself of all of these things. So I'm feeling, I was feeling disconcerted by my lack of emotion. But
That's
what helped me today in my conversation was realizing that it's okay. I really do feel that it's part of the process.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like our ego trying to hang on. It's like, wait,
Yeah,
don't
you
take away
better
all my power,
but you have to be practical. Look, as things are spinning by and you're like, yeah, but I'm committed to this. I'm committed to
Yeah,
this spin and working towards that. And I feel like that the energies have done that. Like this spinning top, it's made us like this spinning top, and things are whipping by us really fast. And it's like, if you try to latch on or hang, you're like,
right.
can
No,
pull you outside of that spin.
I don't think you'd be there if you hadn't let go. It's sort of like that's why you're at that point, is that you were able
Yeah.
to let go and create that momentum that you're experiencing. There's no hanging on at this point. In fact, that's sort of the main point of it, is that
Yes.
just let it strip it all away. You
And it's
don't
just
need it all. And it's
reassuring
liberating.
myself. It that's the freedom. Just let it
But
go, let
see,
it
even like I
spin.
noticed, later I saw something in the chat later on. I didn't respond to because I saw it later, but it said something like, "Shannon, are you an NPC? You just seem kind of chill about stuff, And it's like, I have over the time of having this channel, I've dropped the need to feel like I need to really convince anybody. I mean, I can speak my truth, but beyond that, take it or leave it. I don't, it's if it fits you, if it's great, if it resonates
I've
with you, great. If it
yeah.
doesn't, then maybe it will later, maybe it never will. It doesn't really affect me. I shouldn't get upset. Why
That's
am I
the
going to
thing.
get upset about that? You know what I mean? So I let it go. It doesn't
And that's
bother
that
me
lack of
anymore.
emotion. But it's a little disconcerting when you're, you know, I want the joy too. Like there's part of that. So it's like, I want I still the goal is the joy, bliss, abundance, and love.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But you can have
And
more of that when you can release that other stuff because that stuff actually stands in the way. That's what
yeah,
makes me more accepting of whatever belief somebody has. Bring it here. Love's number one.
yeah. I think it's just been a little bit of a confusing process for me in emptying emptying all of those emotions,
Yeah.
um whether or not I was on the right track, right? what
Hmm.
Whether or not I was on the right track, um and in feeling empty, I wasn't getting emotional reactions to give me the usual cues on which way to go.
And that's sort
There
of
was a
the
real silence to it.
right, but you know how many times, that I've realized anyway in this whole process that you're talking about is how many times we're put in a position where we feel like we have to make a decision about something. Well, I need to pick this or that. No, you don't have to pick either one. Most of the time, we create these decisions. Think about how much, and then this line of thought led me to all of this thinking, right? And I was thinking about, this young couple, right? They've got everything going for them, but yet, like, the dude isn't ready to get married, right? But the relationship's perfect. They're really in love. She really wants to get married because she feels like that's what they should do or whatever. So that creation of a decision that has to be made there actually becomes like a problem for their relationship where it doesn't have to be. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And I started looking at all of these times in life that we create these decisions that really you don't even have to create that. We just create it out of nothing a lot of the time. Or like in that example, that's societal. That's cultural. That this is how we should do. I want you to make a decision to do this. If you love me, you will do this. But maybe that's not how he was raised. So he's like, I love you more than life itself. I mean, from his perspective. And
Hmm.
for him, that piece of paper doesn't mean anything. So there's this disconnect in how they view marriage, right?
Perception.
But that bringing up that decision creates something that doesn't need to be there that actually harms the relationship. But we do it in all areas. That's just
So
one
many
thing.
things. Yeah. And what, I'm glad you brought that up because it really does validate what I've been experiencing too, because I find what's coming to me over the last month is all those different moments, all those different situations, from the past, and shedding those reactions or beliefs that made me think that I had to do things a certain way. And I think, and that's why I'm feeling emptied out, over this course of this week. I'm emptying out all those previous things, those previous perceptions that made me think that I had to do things a certain way or be a certain way or act, all of it, right?
All
Or
right.
tell a certain story. Um, but I think I was feeling a little bit disconcerted about being so empty doesn't feel like progress. Progress
Yeah.
feels like accumulation to like in our mind.
Yeah, you're right. It's psychological programming is what
It's
you're having to
progress
unravel
is
right
is it
now,
is it is attainment of something.
right? But you're moving into that line of thought that led me to believe that some of us were to be pillars because you need to have that emptiness to become
Yeah,
those pillars. You need to have that emptiness to be approachable by anyone. And you know what? It's I know the point you're talking about, but there's also another aspect that sort of comes in to fill that area you're talking about that sort of feels it can feel negative to you, and that is the excitement of the possibility of what the future holds. You know what I mean? And it's like
yeah,
you start to really think, wow, how good can this get? It's getting so much better all the time. I know it's going to continue to get better. And, this is all set up in this master plan. It's like a
yeah,
movie. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
a well crafted movie. It isn't going to end in a dud. It's going to have this climactic ending, and it feels like we're in this climax right now. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I think I get a sense of that, but it's been a difficult month for me. Um, to get to the point of understanding the validity of the current process and what it means. Like I said, your ego mind is uh, used to thinking it has to be progressing and attaining. Um, so it's like this real catch-22 dynamic of like constantly checking in with my own head and saying, okay, well, what is compelling you to think that way? And in stripping, like the faster it spins, it's like stripping more and more layers. And what was feeling like the downside of that was a lack of ambition, a lack of um anything, right? Because I'm emptying.
Right. But
So
you can also take the emptying further, right? To where you don't even have to take sides on what you're observing. You can just observe and say, "Whoa, that's interesting." You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's interesting, and really, you don't have to jump on. And I mean, you're still faced with it, even within your mind, that false dichotomy that you have to listen to the angel or the demon on your shoulders. No, I don't have to
yes.
listen to either one in this moment. Maybe I just want to not do anything. You know, maybe I
But
just want to observe
I
the
think that's,
conversation they're having.
yeah, but that's it. The awareness of that dual conversation, as that spin gets tighter and tighter, that cycle is faster and faster. It's like mirror, like reflection, reflection, like, and it's a little disconcerting. I'm understanding and feeling, I'm knowing and understanding the process, and as of today, feel more of the attainment in the emptiness. So, but it was leaving me at a bit of a loss and feeling, knowing that it's part of the process. But we all feel like, are we on track? Am I on the
Did
right
you?
track? Is this the
So you
right
don't.
way to go? Is this the right way to think? Am I doing this the right way? But again, it's the mirror, 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 mirror. It's all part of the process. Well, who's asking?
Yeah.
Like, and back it goes. And that's spun tighter. So, um, that's really what I've been observing, and it's a little weird. It's a little weird. Hmm.
So you don't have a sense of lightness. You don't feel lighter with the emptiness.
I do today.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
do. I do. I do. No, I mean I have, but I really felt like I was able to crack the shell
Yeah.
on
Do you
the
feel like you've really let
knowing of
go
the
of it all?
process. What's
Like
that?
you're, have you feel like? Do you feel like you've let go of all of the? You know,
Well,
you've been talking about the stories and all this for a
it's
while now, and
surrender. That's it. It's
it's
like I
surrender.
keep,
Yeah.
as it goes faster and spins faster, it's like surrender, 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 surrender. And I'm like, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm
And I
on
know
it.
some people have a problem with thinking of surrender like you're giving up, but you can actually
No.
think of it like acceptance.
Yeah.
Might be a better way for someone who has a problem with that word. You know what I mean?
Or
Because it's
it's surrender to my higher self. It's not what this wants, it's what this wants. And I'm willing to do the work no matter what to make that am willing to surrender all of this desires if I know that it's coming from that point. That's my intention, is that connection with higher self. And what that will is, God's will,
hmm
I want to be working from that, not from this and all the things that this tells me I need to do or should do or have previously done, or how things work. Or I want to know within my heart that it's that I'm surrendering to whatever God, my higher self, needs,
hmm
wants me
so
to do. That's
that
what I
whole
want to know. Not what
walk.
I want, not what Michelle's mind wants. I want to know what God and my higher self wants, because that's what I want to do. no matter what muck I have to walk through, no matter any of that. I'll surrender those fears. I will lay down in the dirt. Whatever it is you want me to do, just
But that's
tell
sort of
me.
see that, and that's sort of the point you can get to. I remember when I was heavily into religion or whatever, you hear the term, the scripture, walk by faith and not by sight. But until you really understand it deeply, that seems like you're surrendering to the unknown. You're sort of leaving things up to chance. I mean, you don't really understand. If you don't really have that trust, in your higher self, God, the Holy Spirit, whatever you call it. Some people have angels or guides or whatever. If you don't understand that they have the better intel,
That's
and they're
right.
and they're prepared to guide you. That's what they're. I mean, many people call them guides. I mean, no
Yeah.
matter what person we just talked about, whether it's Jesus or the Holy Spirit, they're all guides, right? I
Yeah.
mean, maybe that's probably the God guide. It sounds similar.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if that came about some kind of weird way. But yeah, I mean, if you have that trust, and like I said, I think the best trust builder is to look back at your life and realize how many times you've been helped. Just, and why is it going to stop all of a sudden? If it's
Mm-hmm.
happened all the way up until now, you've been watched after, looked after, then why is it going to stop right now? And that should be enough trust to move forward, I think.
Yeah.
If you're not to that point, though, if you feel like, no, I just kind of bumped and got here by accident and barely made it by if you don't see that, if you think
Yeah.
you got here by accident, then you're
Yeah.
probably not ready to build that kind of trust, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So I've just been trying to empty myself of those things, so I can feel like I'm hearing that voice clearly,
Yeah,
the true voice, and that's calling me to do. So
absolutely.
yeah, so really that's what I've been through this month, and it felt quiet. Like I was experiencing a lot of things physically. I'm really glad for the dream that I told you about last week. With the energy that came, that was so strong, felt like static electricity, and to have that experience really it was like my higher self playing with me. And I think that really came in at an appropriate time, kind of when you're looking at a baby that's just not quite content, and you're like, it's okay, we and that and that really did help, and help to feel that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, the process can be confusing and dizzying sometimes, and and when you're spinning so fast in time like this, it's hard to know which direction to go.
You know what I've been getting, and I did I mention the nostalgic feelings?
I
Okay,
had the
those have really amped up. I'm getting like sometimes two a day or something,
Yeah,
and I'm like, why am I getting so much nostalgic feelings? And I try to whenever I get it, I just stop and meditate and resonate in it because it feels good.
just pull it
Just
in,
that
and it's not really landing on one specific image so much anymore,
no,
is it?
I can't even figure it out half the time. Most of the
No,
time, I don't know what even spawned the feeling.
I believe that's the embodiment, like that's the energy of your higher self, that's that
Mm,
home energy coming in, it's washing in, it comes in.
I
And
love
I
that.
find it comes in when I'm doing like simple repetitive tasks.
Mm-hmm.
It'll wash in, and then maybe I get some visuals with it.
Yeah.
Doggy dinner time.
Now one of the things I did figure out. This is so weird. I pulled up to a license, one of those customized license plate in the front of the car, and then I got the feeling, and I was like, something about that license plate. So I'm looking at it, and it was one of those kind that looks like it's mirror cut out with different shapes. It was a sporting team or whatever, but there was like a letter that was like a J, and it looked like a what do you call it? A candy cane. And it reminded me of one of those candy cane cookie cutters from when I was a kid in the drawer. So
Yeah,
I figured that one out. I figured out what, and I was like, why would that license plate remind me of something completely different? You know what I mean? It even had little spots on it that looked like stripes on it, like a candy cane would, and it was. But I was surprised I was able to figure that out. But it was like it just tapped into something deep in
yeah,
my brain and
yeah.
brought it back to life again and spawned that feeling. And it's been happening, and I don't even know what it is half the time. That
Happens a
that's
couple
one
times a day.
example. Can
Happens a
happen
couple
a couple
times a
times a
day.
day,
Yeah,
and I
for me.
love it. And it's been
Oh, I
doing it a
do.
couple
I
times
just
a day
kind
for
of,
you.
and I don't, I've given up trying to hone into any specific memory. so much. I just bring it into the heart and honing to carrying, because there's enough sequences of dreams where I can just kind of put myself in that state. So I just kind of take that opportunity to just like, there it is. There it is. That's the sweet spot. Right.
Yeah.
And just
You know,
like breathe it in.
it almost seems like me learning to be more present, and because if you get stuck in a waiting room or something, those are the times that you're really tested to be present and stuff. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
stuck in a few of these. Even today I was in a meeting and I was like waiting, and I had to be here for this, and of course it made me late, so I was in a high stress situation. I was able to be present and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I think it makes you more aware of those mundane moments in life that seem like they were just nothing. Like me looking in a drawer at some cookie cutter things is nothing, and me pulling up in a parking lot and seeing a license plate is, there's nothing special about those moments. But once you're present in those moments, you start noticing more of the times in the past when you were present as a child, I guess. I
Yeah.
think this is linked in. It almost feels like your brain gets rewired the more present you are, the more it begins to rewire itself to be more present. And it's
Yeah.
connecting up parts of my brain to other parts, other times in my life before I lost that, perhaps. And
That's
you're a child
exactly
and
it.
you're in the moment as a
That's
child because you're
exactly
always
it.
in the moment.
Yes.
And it's,
You're just simply tying into your natural state of being. So
mm-hmm,
it's not just specifically the memory, but you're tying into the time when you still maintained that now
yeah.
energy and you carried home with you.
And that gets back to Jesus saying you got to become like a child again. And
Yes, you do.
yeah,
You do. Because I think when we start getting to 8, 9, 10, it starts
the
to wear
programming
away.
is, yeah, the
It
programming
starts to
starts to
break
take over.
down. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
check this out. Cosmic Jester said, it's like your present moment is actually your past. It's strange. That is the feeling.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't believe that it's actually time. I think we're perceiving it that it has to do with time, but
It's
it
like the
has to
breakdown of
do with,
time.
and it's remembering a natural state of being, and it's bringing that back in. It's connecting it in time,
Yeah.
so it not locks in, and it brings in that knowing. It's helping to lock it in back in and bring it back into our reality, what we lost, what we had as a child
Yeah.
naturally. So that's why it's coming to childhood. But then at other times it's like, well, it'll bring me not just childhood, it'll bring me states where I've experienced that in dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's elusive stuff. I can't even get a visual with it, but I can't even
One
put
of
any
the
finger on it.
one of them I got nostalgia of flying around at night
Yeah.
in the city, and like just the and I'm like, why am I having nostalgia of flying around the city at night? Like
Yeah.
it must be dreams or
You.
something I remember or
No, me
something.
too. I exactly the same
Or
thing where
maybe I'm remembering
I'm
my
flying
dream
around
state.
over a town.
Yeah.
And there's an energy that I'm carrying when I'm doing that, a power of possession and body, like and everything of who you are to move through an experience in a world like that.
Wow.
And that's what, when I talk about, that's what I take a moment to breathe in. I put myself back in that moment
Yeah.
where I'm carrying that energy and just try to take that time to breathe it in, because I believe that's what it's trying to grow and spawn, making that connection and breathing it into the now and just keep doing it. Maybe it's twice a day now. Well, maybe a month from now it's going to be like 4 times a day.
I
Yeah,
know it feels great.
yeah, it
It
does.
like yeah, it
You
feels
feel at
awesome.
home in yourself. You
Yeah.
feel at
It's a
home.
yeah. Yeah, I think if most people could feel that way in the moment all the time, people wouldn't be so concerned about getting the heck out of here so fast. Like, yeah, it'll be all
That's right.
right. It'll happen when it
That's
happens.
right. And that's kind of what I was battling with this month too. It's like I'm really committed to this process, but at the same time, I was feeling empty and I wasn't sure how to feel about anything. And sometimes you just want to feel something.
Yeah, exactly. Shiny's saying your future self is watching you now through your memories. That's trippy, Shiny.
Mm, that's cool. I like that. That's cool. Oh,
Okay.
I
Oh, go
want
ahead.
I wanted to tell you I did have another lucid dream this week, which was really interesting.
Oh, while you were sick, that's a great time when you're like sort of sick and out of it. It's a great time to have some cool dreams, possibly.
Yeah. Um, well, I told you last week that I just discovered Minecraft, right?
Right.
So for anybody who hasn't played Minecraft, uh, you go in, you can build every. It's all in blocks. Everything's in blocks of sand, blocks of stone, blocks of wood, blocks, and you can build. It's a virtual. It's like virtual Lego. It's like a
Hmm.
virtual Lego, right? Virtual reality Lego, and
I'm sure a lot of
which
people in our community like it because
I'm having a blast. I had
it
like
like
no idea.
it satisfies that creative bone. I've never played it, but I've watched my kids play it, and I've learned how to use software that actually does those types of things in it. So I know
Yeah.
how great it is. Yeah,
Building
like
I built a
Legos.
house, I'm building a castle, and I built a bridge, and like it's just fun. Like you literally go into a virtual world and you can create. It's like
Yeah,
Lego, virtual
yeah,
Lego. It really
yeah.
is. So what happened was really interesting. Earlier this week, I was having a dream and it was super vivid. I'm just looking around myself in the dream, and there's trees and everything's just so lush and vivid. And but then I realized that the leaves in the trees are Minecraft blocks. So I'm like, aha, I got you. Right? And it's
That's when
like
you became lucid because you
it,
realized.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, aha, this is a dream. Like that's how I do it. It was such a good tool because I'm like looking around my environment, admiring it, how clear it is, and then just to realize I'm seeing this in blocks. And I was immediately able to be, aha, that's not real. As real as this looks, it's not real. And I'm dreaming, and and it was so instantaneous. The crossover of the lucidity, because it's like powering up for me.
Right.
Like I literally go from like walking down the street like a normal person to lifting myself off the ground and just move around my reality, right?
Yeah.
And and it's such a power, like we were just talking about, that feeling, that home feeling, like all of it, it just all comes with it. I'm like, I know who I am, what I can do, where like it's complete freedom. There's no judgment, there's no worry, there's no nothing. You just are. And so that was really cool. It happened twice in the same night, because I woke up and I went back to sleep again had a dream, and again was able to spot. I'm like, this is a great tool. This is an awesome
Uh oh.
tool that my mind put these blocks in. So I was able to see the box and then understand that it was not, it was not reality, and then was immediately able to have complete control of myself in the environment and just start flying off, right? So that was really cool. I thought that was a neat trick that my mind used to show me that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I like that trick. So, and it's a great example. It's like things like that. Like, how do you attain lucidity? It's just that click over of your mind going, no, that's not the way things are. And then boom, step out of it. And then it's, if you have no fear, because that's what I was able to resolve through dreams, is releasing any fear.
Hmm.
So don't have any fear. It's the fear and the doubt that comes in that boom grounds you again. You're back walking on the ground. Any fear or doubt. But to know you're in dream and you're untouchable, it's you know instantaneous. Yeah, it was a really cool trick. I really appreciated it. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's gosh, that's actually pretty cool. I was thinking, what if like after you cross over and you get to see all the things you created with in dream world or in your imagination and stuff, and you come across, oh, this is back when I was playing Minecraft. Everything gets real blocky looking, just because your brain automatically created the more blocky looking stuff. That's
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. It's pretty funny. The double
But
reality of the Minecraft and conceptualizing, here he is. It's you want to, as a creative person, be compelled to like go into a virtual world,
Yeah.
create, build, and play, right? And it's like that mirror effect. It's that hilltop effect again. It's like, oh, I got it. Like, here am I, and I'm like, okay, well, why wouldn't you just do this in your 3D reality as opposed to the virtual reality? I'm like, well, my 3D reality, my back hurts. I couldn't do all this stuff, right? So it's nice. Like, the 3D reality, you have to actually physically do, which is great. Like, I obviously, with the detailed artwork I do,
Yeah.
I do enjoy that process, right? I do enjoy this intricate creative process of building one step upon each other. But
But I've
yeah,
had that
it
happen where,
was,
you know, like bleed over from video games. Like I have my eyes, I'm seeing like those hypnagogic images as I'm falling asleep, and it's a Fortnite map or something. Or played a
yeah,
game so much like Tony Hawk, the skateboard game, you know?
yeah,
You played so much that you'd be driving down the road and you'd be looking at railings and thinking about grinding your skateboard across it and doing different tricks and stuff. Your
yeah,
brain just couldn't stop, you know? And even though you were not looking at the game anymore, you were just looking at real life, your brain was still seeing it like a Tony Hawk map, you know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
Yeah, well, we talked about that too last week, how like, if you play or practice something before you go to sleep, right? Then you continue to do that in your sleep. So I am a little bit more like, I am cautious about how much time I spend. I do, like, I haven't even gone on and played it the last couple of days because I know it will seep through too much into my dreams. Like, I like that little heads up, but I don't want to go into every dream sequence where I'm digging mines and building houses, so, which is what'll happen, right? So I
Right.
have to be aware of putting limits on that, because if I
Yeah.
do that, if I sit and play for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, playing a video game before I go to sleep, it will be going through my mind. But in the same sense, I've also seen times where I think my higher self has used those as tools to harmonize this energy,
Yeah. Yeah.
where things like it's just uses as another example, for a deeper process, because I've had a couple instances where, like, you take a game or whatever, and maybe I was playing it well. It uses that, like, fitting the pieces and getting them just right, and then what fits just right, I get a harmonic blast,
Right.
right? So it's an energetic thing that's still going on. um, but my mind's done that with the piano music, with practicing it's using whatever it can,
Right.
um, to practice this harmonic balance of shifting things till you get it just right, zoning in on that sweet spot, and you know and then buzzing from it, right? So that's what I've seen play out,
Yeah.
and it'll just use whatever mediums are available,
Right.
you know.
But I think, you know, you touch on something that's important. We got to realize when, and you can tell when you've done something so much that it's bleeding over into other areas of your life and your dreams and stuff, and you do need to take a break, because even I had a BQH with someone that kept seeing stuff from mud flood videos, you know,
Yeah,
because they've been watching, like, binge watching all this mud flood stuff. So
yeah,
all their imagination stuff that they were seeing was all mud flood stuff, and they felt like it was just purely pulling up stuff out of their imagination, and it wasn't really seeing anything. But I always
yeah,
tell people that, you know, the guides will use whatever's in your mind. So even if you know you've watched a bunch of that and you're seeing stuff that looks like that, that might be what they're using, just to go
yeah.
with it, say what you see, and
You're gonna
you know,
use what symbolism's available,
yeah, exactly.
right? And what's being
Kind of like
claimed
what
for
just
most
happened to you.
people.
Here you're playing this video game, and
Exactly.
it was a key to waking up in the dream. You
And I
know,
know my higher self knows I'm going to get it. Like, I know
right?
they know that, like, it's
Exactly.
being put in. My higher self's putting that in there as a trigger for me,
Yeah.
you know, to see that. And
But
I'm
that's an
I'm grateful
important point.
for it.
Of course, they're going to use what is fresh in your mind and what's easy to access. You
And it
know,
was
it's
a
almost
great
like,
one. I was like, this is clever, guys. Like,
right.
this is a good one.
It's
Because
almost
I
like
was
we've.
instantly able to see it.
It's almost like we've got a table full of stuff. You know, that
Mhm.
whatever kind of lingering in our RAM memory of our brain. You know, that's sort of in the forefront, and they come in there and they're able to use that to tell you the story they need to tell you. So don't reject stuff that you know is from your imagination or your memory, because that's what's on the table. That's what they have to use. They might use some like a total Minecraft dream to send you a message. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Easily.
Are going to take what's available, the symbolism that's available, and if that's what's being. But also be aware what you are programming in your
Hmm.
mind. You can program your mind.
Oh yeah.
So,
Too
um,
much of anything
and
isn't
it
good.
doesn't mean that you don't watch stuff. Then it's awareness.
Hmm.
Just the awareness alone kind of safeguards us,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? It can create that protective bubble.
It's
You
kind of like
know,
when we watch MSM, we laugh because we don't see
yeah.
it.
Or like watching Netflix. Like I watch stuff on Netflix, but I'm watching it from a different perspective than I would have 5 years ago.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
I'm taking it. I can see the overlay of messages. I can
Yeah.
see, but I can still enjoy a show. Like this week, I watched Stranger Things. Holy crap, the messages in there,
Oh
guys!
yeah. They're
Like it's
totally
just
pushing
so
fear, are they not?
ridiculous.
It is. It's real ridiculous. But
Reality, it's all there, but I was still able to enjoy the show. For me, it was great. I was born in 71, right? So literally 84, like the ages that they are, like that's how old I was at that time.
yeah.
So I really
Yeah, it's like
enjoyed
that for
that.
me too. It's
It
like
was
that for
very
the
nostalgic
Goldbergs.
watching that. It was
Do you
more the
watch?
nostalgia that brought a tear to my eyes sometimes, and just like, wow, going back to that age when things were like that. And they really captured that well. I like that,
Yeah.
like you see, there's no cell phones. They're going through the phone book. Who's Google? Their science teacher. It's just great. And that's how things were. And so I was just able to enjoy that, but I was also able to see the fiction and the storylines that they're putting out from that perspective of what Netflix is, and the truth they're
yeah.
telling you but not telling you. They tell you truth and fiction, right? And yeah, so, but not to internalize it too much, just to enjoy the experience and leave it.
Have you
So
watched the show The Goldbergs ever?
no, what is that one?
It's a show that's really, it's like a lighthearted sitcom, but it gives you that 80s feeling. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, they'll just go through a lot of the things we went through. Like, they've got like a Ferris Bueller's episode where they're all like, you just got to check it out. It's a great show. Every one of them I cry on because they'll usually play some old obscure, I don't know,
Oh, I
Tears
know.
for
They were
Fear
doing that to
song
me in
or
Stranger
something.
Things too.
And then it like sparks off nostalgia because you haven't heard it since you were a kid. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so
Never
great.
ending
It's a goofy show.
story.
It is a goofy show, but it's funny. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a nice lighthearted show though.
Yeah.
For
But
people our age, to
yeah.
go back to that nostalgic feeling. So if you're not feeling that nostalgic feeling, you're around our age. Google watch an episode of Goldbergs and see if that doesn't bring that feeling up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Well,
like speaking spells, just stuff you forget about. That like you're like what? Just to set up the props and that is just amazing.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
Like,
little, I
wow.
know that's what I was surprised about. So many of the little things, like just the little things that you kind of forget about. And
And it's like almost everyone had the same stuff during the 70s.
yeah.
And in the 80s, like there was more variety, but almost all of us had the same stuff
Atari.
through the 80s.
Oh yeah, they don't have the choices.
It was the 90s and beyond that there were so many choices that you might have likely bought a different brand or something. But the
Yes.
70s and 80s, it's like you'll see the phone, you're like, that's the phone we had on our wall and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there was only one gaming system, Atari,
Right,
right?
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. And that
Yeah,
just funny stuff like that, and the fact that they used to play Dungeons and Dragons, like even
yeah,
to conceptualize it, that's like playing a video game without the video game.
exactly.
And
And I was never allowed to play that. Just so it was
yeah.
way too evil.
Oh, I remember the talk about it back then. You know. But even like everything they did with it, the style, like that's the Stranger Things, that's like Needful Things. It's like Stephen King, the writing on the books. Like I used to read all the Stephen King books and music and everything. But see, I wouldn't read Stephen King now. You know that?
Oh, just don't want to get up inside his head?
No, I don't want to get up inside his head now. I've been there to read it. I loved the books when I was at that was age. I read all that stuff. I did, but I'm much more cautious now. No, I wouldn't watch a horror movie now.
That's how it was with what is that one Black Mirror or some,
Black
there was
Mirror's a
something
good show.
everybody was making a big deal about, and I watched it. And I was like, dude, I just don't want to put that in my head. I'm so sorry.
Oh, there's a lot of
Some of
truth
the stuff,
bombs in that show. There's a
right,
lot of
right, but
truth
some of
bombs.
it is just like getting inside the writer's head is troubling. You know,
But yeah, what's troubling is the truth bombs in there. Is
that it's
that
based on
they make it
it.
seem futuristic, they make it seem like it's going on somewhere else, but it's
Right.
going on like how much is really some of those stories,
I
how
think
much is
the
really
one I
going on.
saw the one I saw had something to do with a politician and a pig or
Oh, and the
something like.
pig.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
We won't talk about that one.
yeah. We won't go any further than that. But you know, after I'm like, dude, I don't
That
want
one was
to.
gross. That one made
But
me
they're all
so
kind of
nauseous. Yeah,
disconnected, aren't
that
they? All
was one.
separate shows. They aren't really.
They're all separate, completely separate
Because I
short
saw
fiction
another one that
stories.
didn't have any of the first people, and I'm like, this doesn't even seem like the same show. I guess
No,
it's just
they're all different. They're like
okay.
Twilight Zone episodes. It's like Twilight Zone.
Okay, maybe it
It's like
deserves
a
another shot or
yeah
something. I don't know. Or I need
version
somebody to
of
tell me
Twilight Zone.
which ones to watch because
But I think be aware if like any of that stuff feels too dark. There is some stuff that's dark to it. So I did stop watching that one as well. But I had seen a few episodes last year. But I am a lot more cautious about what I put in. You know, even when they came out with the Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix, and I was like, even though I know it's satanic agenda, and you know, I was just curious to see how bad. Like I just wanted to see what they were putting out. Because I was making videos at that time too about all this stuff. So I really
right,
wanted
right.
to see
What show was it again?
um
Black Mirrors? Were we just talking about? They're asking what
Black
we were
Mirror
talking
is
about.
weird. Yeah, Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few seasons of that now, and they're all different. But you know, I really found after I watched a couple of episodes, it actually made I felt ill the rest of the night. Like I just did not feel good.
The Black
I
Mirror one?
No, the Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, okay, okay. Is that
That
a
I
newer version that where they came out
Yeah, they
with it?
remade it on
Okay.
Netflix last
Oh, I
year.
see. Okay.
This wasn't recently. It was like I said, it was like last year when I was making more of these videos and I was trying to put together different ideas for how they show the symbolism, like to try to show that there is this satanic agenda and how they put it out in the media and the movies and the symbols of different things and the progression that they're doing. And that's a perfect example right there. It's a really good example of that. How they're trying to get people comfortable with the idea of Satanism and making it normal, right? But really, I watched 2 episodes and I felt it wasn't like it just I could feel the bad energy from it. It's just
Mm.
not, you know,
I know
entertaining.
what you
It made
mean.
but
But then there's shows like
felt residual energy from it afterwards. I really did. I really felt this
right.
like
I know what you
negative
mean. That
energy,
yucky feeling that you get. Yeah, I know what you mean.
bad taste.
Um, See, another show was Travelers that I think, you know, the very first show could have turned a lot of people off of a great show because there was this horrible violent scene in the beginning
Right.
that could totally, you know, I almost didn't. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch all this. You know what I mean? And it was like,
Yeah.
because it was a bad scene. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm glad I moved beyond it because it ended up being a really good show, and that wasn't really, you know, indicative of what the whole show was like. It was just, I guess they wanted to start it off with a blast or something like they do, you know. But
Yeah.
did you watch Travelers or?
No, but I'll go take a look at it. I think that's
Travelers is the one where they're from the future, and if somebody's about to die, they can jump back their consciousness and save their life and take over their body. So they were going to die anyway, right?
right.
So they'll jump back in time and take over host because they're trying to manipulate the timeline to fix something in the future.
Oh, I
So
get
there are
it.
these
Okay.
travelers that come back, and
So that
they
person's going to exit anyway. So they jump
since
in just a few minutes before,
a few seconds before they're going to
and
die,
which
they'll
allows
jump
them to
in.
exit anyways. And then
Right.
they divert and carry off and continue the path in order to. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, check
Right.
that.
So they're in the future, so they know right when people die, and so you know, like the one of the main characters is the FBI guy. So right before he steps into an elevator shaft and dies, they jump in. They know he's about to step into the elevator shaft, so they know to catch themselves or, you know, be
That's cool.
cautious. And then they take over, and then since he was already, it's not a moral issue because he was going to die anyway.
His choice was made. Right.
But they have to resume their life, so which means that, you know, this wife of the FBI agent, you know, the husband comes home, different person, even though he's in the same
Yeah.
suit. You know.
Well, they're
So
really
that makes it
talking about
interesting.
walk-ins, really, in a way. Which,
Yeah.
if you look into, there, people who have experienced that. So
It's a pretty cool show, though. Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty cool
I'll
show.
check it out. I finished Stranger Things, so so I'll check that one out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think there's a few seasons of that. Yeah, you'll want to binge watch it. Anybody who hasn't seen it, I think,
Hmm.
you'll
Hmm.
like it. It's a good show.
Well, there is
Okay.
ones out there.
I wanted to, I'm going to be, I don't know if you guys know Michelle Walling, but I'm going to be going on her show here. I guess it's going to be a week from Wednesday. It's going to air. And she had some questions she asked me, and I thought, well, you know what? I'll just pose it to you guys and see what you guys feel. Okay, so within the last, I guess this will be 4 or 5 days, has anyone felt like you shifted, like this is a different space, a different place? Are things falling together more easily for you in this last little bit of time? For me, I don't know. I wouldn't notice anything.
No, it's for me. It's been pretty much the same. But what everything that I've explained to you, I do feel like I cracked through a knowing of what the process was, which I'm glad for, to wrap up the month or whatever. But um, I wouldn't say for me in particular that I've noticed any specific jumper or shift. But I'm also not exposed to a lot of people right now. So,
And
but
that's how
within my
that's yeah, the next
Mhm.
question is that's exactly why I can't really answer this next one. And it's have you seen or noticed that some people seem to be robot like one day and very connected another day? Kind of like the Mandela effect for people. So
Hmm.
do people seem like they're shifting from being awake to being robot like, NPC like, as they say? Um, I
that I wouldn't.
kind of I felt like that a little bit myself, so I don't know.
Hmm.
I felt robot like some days.
Yeah, I've yeah, in a way, I've felt a little bit more like I've tried to explain how I was feeling, but it can feel like that emptiness. It can feel a little robotic.
Yeah, really, it can. It
Yeah,
can.
I'd be more feeling that for myself per
You
se.
realize you realize how much we live our life triggered when you begin to not be triggered by
When you're not
everything.
triggered, yeah, you're
It
just
almost feels like an emptiness.
well, yeah. It's like, okay, am I supposed to show something here? Like make my face move, do something, just so other people know I'm still here, like breathing.
Right.
But who is that for? And then I go back to who is that even for? Is that for them? Is that for me? Like, what
Yeah.
am I doing any of it for? So it all just keeps cycling back. Yeah.
And
That's
then
really
you're moving away from creating dramas too, because if there's not dramas there and you're feeding off of that, and you're that kind of person, then you won't
yeah,
even realize you're doing it. But you'll create sort of like I was talking about earlier, where you create a decision that needs to be made where there doesn't need to be one.
yeah.
You'll create drama out of nothing where there doesn't need to, where you don't have to do that. But
It's
it's all automatic. Most people don't even realize it.
Travis was saying how he noticed how much people were really like repeating themselves unnecessarily, which I thought was interesting. Just kind of like repeating the same thing unnecessarily, like cycling. And, even though he's like, yes, I reiterate that this is what you said, and I understand this, and then they're like, yeah, again because of this and this, like really repeating those stories and saying again and again, and yeah. So
are you saying it's robotic and broken record like?
yeah,
Maybe?
broken record. Like why they're just keep spinning the same story, or
Yeah.
why going over what the necessity to talk. I mean, for me, I noticed that too. It's like the necessity to talk,
It's like a script.
or why do you need to fill the silence? Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that it's like repeating, it is like a script, like running
It's
over and
it's
over.
repeating a broken record. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's noticed that. I don't know if you guys have so much. So like I said, I'm not getting around enough people per se to
Yeah.
notice that. So
But, I've noticed it with myself too, that when you're observing those thought streams like that, I don't feel like I'm immune to them. It's just like whether you react to them or not, you know what I mean? So I've been noticing collective ideas that I see going around, but
yeah, well, that's kind of hard.
observing them.
It's when it's like that's it. It's when they do come up or whatever. It'll come up to my mind. It doesn't come out my mouth first.
Right.
And oftentimes it'll go through, and once it's cycled through the cycle of peeling off the layers, I'm like, there was no point to any of it.
Yeah.
So then again, I'm left with nothing, and that's okay. And being okay with that, like feeling like you have to comment or you have to, just stripping that away. Don't feel like it's made me the most interesting person to live with right now. Or entertaining. Poor mom. But it's just where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also makes it, if you're trying to, I don't know, explain something, and then you feel like you're falling into defending something, you're like, forget it. I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, if you move from just explaining something to feeling like you're defending it and it's moving into debate, then it's almost like, I don't even want to bring it up. The last
Or needing
thing
to
is,
explain something to somebody else. It's like, is that my need?
Right.
Right? Whose need is that anyways? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's so it ends up, yeah. So I know exactly. I've got Zoe to talk for me. So yeah, but I'm curious to see what October's going to bring.
Yeah, I'm looking to make sure I didn't miss any.
Really? You want to
See
come up and tell everybody about it?
Yeah.
Come on up and tell everybody your stories.
Hey, Zoe.
Hey,
Zoe.
Stories. I know this is later than we usually go on. She's like, Zoe's very schedule, She keeps me on schedule. She tells me when it's time to play piano. Hey, so you know when we do stuff.
Well, I don't see anything in red, so hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Some people sometimes put stuff in caps, and I missed that. So scrolling real fast, I don't see any red that I missed. If anybody has any symptoms you'd like to bring up, you can type it in there, or you can later on, of course. If you're watching this later, and put it in the comments. It's funny, I got 88 watching, and then it says 8 messages a second. I got 888 across the bottom there. It's funny.
Zoe.
There's Zoe.
There's Zoe.
Zoe ready to go outside?
Yeah, she just.
What's the temperature like there? Is it starting to get cold?
It was was it yesterday or the day before? It did get cold, but today is muggy. It's actually raining. It's pretty warm today. It's back to muggy again. So, but leaves are all changing. It's really pretty right now. But the weather's still pretty nice and mild. So.
Was there some snow out west in Canada?
The Rockies, yeah, not near me. No snow around here yet.
Okay,
yeah.
No, because I talked to Angela, and I didn't know if she was speaking metaphorically or.
Oh, she could be where she is. I wouldn't.
We had this cool synchronicity with her that I was actually telling you about earlier. We were scheduling her BQH, and it turned out it was going to be on Columbus Day, and she's like, "Oh, it's Columbus Day there in the States." I'm like, "Yeah, it's just it's not really a holiday that we don't have plans or anything, So she goes, "Is that it? Columbus Day is in Christopher Columbus? Because Christopher was named after Christopher Columbus." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me! That's totally Christopher Columbus Day."
That's
so
awesome.
It's Christopher Day that we're going to be doing her BQH session.
Yeah, so, that's perfect. So it's cool. The right day.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We always have a lot of cool synchronicities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like all right. Well, I guess we can wrap this one up.
Yeah,
was there any other dreams or anything going on?
No, that was it. That was about it, really. Just that one, the Lucid one this week. So, yeah, that was interesting, which is a good tip for anybody else sort of trying to, how do you get lucid in dreams,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, little tool. Look for those things that just don't belong. Like that Sesame Street song, one of these things, not like the other. And that's kind of my tip, my way to go lucid. Mm-hmm.
And we checked the Schumann. It's not doing anything exciting right now, but those links are below. So if you guys want to keep an eye out on that stuff, Michelle's link is also down there. What else do we have down there? Links to the book and the Mandela Effect Conference coming up. We will have Dark Wolf on tomorrow, and we'll be discussing
another wolf.
Effect. Yeah,
say
exactly.
Hi. Wolf to wolf. That's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here again, Michelle. I'm so glad you're feeling better this week.
Yeah, me too. Me too, guys. Love you all.
Yeah, we love you guys in the chat and watching later, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.